Hello everyone. How are we doing? Just messing around with the kalimba. I'm doing good. As the caption says, I'm kind of tired. Yesterday was hot and tiring. Got a lot done, to be fair, but I'm knackered. Today hasn't been so hot, to be fair. It's still a bit warm. But I went to the gym and now I'm knackered. Sorry for anyone that's not a fan of the shirt, but couldn't be bothered to change, so there you have it. See, I'll be real for a second. I don't know why I went live. So I'm actually so tired, like to the point where I just want to lie here, do nothing. But that would probably be the wrong thing to do, because then that doesn't make for a very fun live stream. I should have just laid down, and there's like Club World Cup football on at the moment. Even though United aren't involved, it's somewhat interesting to watch. I should have just laid down and watched that. But I'm here. How about them apples? I did actually record my set that I was, and hear me out here, meant to be doing the other day. I did do the set, technically, the other day, and might I say, now that I'm on my ones and can talk freely about this without Harvey shutting me down, thank you so much to everyone that did come to the Ministry set. It was a bit of a shitter for me. I think the event went well overall. But yeah, unfortunately there were some complications and it ended up that I had to start the entire event off at 2:00 in the afternoon. And realistically, on that hot of a day, at 2:00 in the afternoon, I don't think many people particularly want to be in a club, which, yes, it was outside, but also, still have to be at a club at 2, and yeah, it was just, it was what it was. I had a good time. I then did, unfortunately, like actually a bit further than halfway through my set, get told, I thought I was meant to be doing an hour and a half, and I was only actually doing an hour, but I was there with an hour and a half set, ready to, fill that time. So I had to think on my feet a little, because there was still a few songs that I kind of needed/wanted to play. As my time was very quickly running out, and I was like, shit, well, better get these played and just fucking send it. So it kind of turned into a bit of a car crash at the end, but like I said, I still enjoyed myself. I still had fun. But we'll move on to the next one. Fingers crossed it's better. But yeah, I'm hoping the people that did come had a decent time. It is what it is. This shit happens sometimes. You just gotta do what you gotta do, and we move on. Yeah, I know Sadie's a bit jealous that she didn't get to hear We Move the full way through, and also with those good quality speakers, because the speakers were great. I love playing at Ministry. It's fantastic. It's just unfortunately had a bit of a share. These things happen as a DJ, and I needed it. You don't get humbled enough sometimes at certain levels of your career, and I need that shit. So it's good for me. I'm walking away with knowledge versus the most phenomenal experience ever, which is fine sometimes. how did you start to DJ? I think I've said this before, but I'll answer the question for you. Basically, I've always wanted to, and I actually, do you know, I really liked, someone found a clip. I'm not even sure when it was from, but I think the question we were asked was, what would you do if you weren't doing either what you're doing now or like social media or whatever? And I think Harvey said cooking and I said DJing. And this was actually before I, properly started DJing. I think I'd done a couple of like random things before, silent disco at Camp Festival, which we did for a few years, but I wasn't actually DJing. I don't know if I've ever explained that properly before. I was literally just playing songs and messing with the knobs on the decks because I had no fucking clue what I was doing. Then we were reached out to by... You're actually going to have to forgive me because I've forgotten the company's name, but it was a company that were running a campaign that wanted to get more women involved in DJing, which me and Harvey were like, great, that sounds fantastic. We were kind of surprised that they came to us for this. But we, where did we go? Somewhere up north. Did a whole shoot day with them. We weren't being paid for it. We were just like, yeah, of course, we'd love to get involved. Like, it's a good thing for sort of charity. Like, it sounds weird calling that charity, but hopefully you know what I mean. And at the end of it, they were like, thanks so much for coming along. Do you want a set of decks? And they basically gifted me these, though it's actually not these because the ones I was gifted unfortunately broke. So I'm lucky enough that I now work with Pioneer, and I swapped those broken decks in for these ones with Pioneer. And yeah, I've been practicing on these ever since. It's really good because it's got most of the functions that like the standard club decks have. Obviously it's slightly different because this is an all-in-one console, and typically with club consoles, they're not consoles, they're individual CDJs, which you gotta get two of them typically. A lot of people use four. That's for different genres and whatnot, and then a mixer that goes in the middle. This is all combined into one. However, it's laid out pretty similarly, so like I'm really happy to practice on these versus like having a massive setup that I would not know where to put right now. Maybe one day I'll end up either trying to buy something, or I don't really need to, because like I say, because of me working with Pioneer, I can actually get those decks sent out to me like for periods of time, and then I'll obviously send them back once I'm done practicing. But I've not done that yet particularly, but I probably will at some point, which is very helpful for me practice wise generally. But honestly, you could get an even smaller set of decks than these, because I will admit these are quite spenny, especially if you're like starting out as a DJ. These are like $1,000, or this is like $1,000. You could, I think, for like entry level stuff that works, you can get something that's like 200 quid that would definitely be like worth starting with and practicing with. And you can also there's a bunch of like studios that you can rent out that is not that expensive. It's, to be honest, I've actually not looked into it particularly, but I know it's not that expensive. And then you've got proper club standard decks that you can practice on. But yeah, that's how I started. I've actually never done that except going in with Pioneer, which is great. But yeah, I very much enjoy the DJing. It helps me develop myself as a musician, get a better understanding of what music's doing well, how people are responding to music live without having to do massive sets of very specific niche music. I get to play a lot of different types of music and listen to what other DJs are doing and all that kind of shit. Very helpful for me, and hopefully will allow me, I already believe it has allowed me to be so much more, forgive me for kissing my own ass for a second, but intelligent about music, if you know what I mean. Like, it's widened my perspective on everything, first of all, and just brings so many more ideas and like quick thinking to sessions from me, rather than being like, should we just do the same shit over and over again? Because I feel like a lot of musicians get stuck in that. Like, not always, but they'll have a period of time where it's like, okay, cool, that worked, let's do it again. Nah, man, like, you could do something similar maybe once or twice, but don't just repeat the same shit over and over again. That's boring. But yeah, how are we all doing now that I've had my little waffle? It was quite a good question that person just asked, to be fair. I actually need to have a look at something real quick because I'm potentially doing something tomorrow and I just want to scope it out. So while I'm doing that, how is everyone? Thank you, anyone gifting as well. I appreciate it. I'll read out gifters at the end. Just 'cause I feel like I've missed a few already. Everyone's good. Enjoying the sun, enjoying the nice weather. Someone's having a poker night. Let's go. Good for you. Don't lose all your money. Are you going on vacation? Yeah. There is one that's like full vacation, which I'm going to Spain with the fam at some point. And we are going to Amsterdam with Evie. Less of a vacation, but like we're still going to have a great time, obviously, but we are, planning on filming certain things and getting certain shit done. So yeah. I'm that. Okay. Might actually do that instead then. Yeah, sorry, I'm just looking at the thing I wanted to. I was going to be doing it tomorrow, but there actually isn't slots for tomorrow, so yeah, I'll text that to Dobby. Hopefully we'll do that. Yeah, sweet. Yeah, we will definitely be trying to go to Efteling when we're out in Amsterdam, as per Harvey's request, of course. To be fair, Evie loves it as well there. She's been at least once, maybe a couple times. I think she has been a couple times. I've never been, but I've been told it's great, so I'm actually quite excited to go. I do like a theme park. I just, sometimes it's too much for my head. I'm like tired, and especially the times that Harvey drags us to theme parks, we'll literally be up at like the crack of dawn, and then we'll get there and like throwing yourself at a, potentially 60 to 80 mile an hour ride. It's just like, what am I doing to myself? But yeah. Boom, 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 boom. I've got that Fred Again song stuck in my head. Good song. Boom, 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 boom. Someone got a grey 13 again t-shirt. Yes, that's a good point, So for the people that were requesting, first of all, merch in general, and second of all, a lot of people were specifically saying t-shirts. We did just put some new stuff on the store. So if you did want something and you didn't, potentially have enough money to get a hoodie, these are cheaper, obviously, as they're t-shirts. And it says 13 again in the middle, and Listen to Me on the back. We got them in grey and light blue. They seem to be going down pretty well thus far. I actually don't know how many we have, but I know that not many, because I've only mentioned it once before and there weren't even that many people in the live stream. So to anyone that knows of anyone that has been talking about buying merch and they maybe don't know about this, if you could give them a shout for me, that'd be great. You don't have to, but yeah, where can you buy them? It's maxandharveyofficial.com on Google, and then that'll take you to our website and our stores there. You can find out about some other stuff about us on the website, to be fair. There's not loads going on. It is mainly for the store at the moment, but, we post about releases and, apparently we have an email? I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, it's mostly about merch. We actually need to update that with... maybe that's just to watch the video, to be fair. Yeah, because there's no video for Get Down on it, so fair enough. I was going to say we should probably have posted on the website about Get Down on It, but that is literally just pairing the music video for the Nori thing. There's a reason I won't like this. I haven't touched that since I had a crash out the other day. I do want to remix that song. I actually, the thing I started with, I'm not even joking, you guys. Not that I was planning on coming up with something phenomenal for that, but I ended that live stream after like putting, 4 things together or whatever, and I was like, this is so shit. Like I listened to it again and I was like, this is actually wank. Like it's not often that I properly have that realization after, splicing something together. 'Cause sometimes at least like there's a bit of direction to it where I'm like, oh, there could be something there, like kind of cool. That was just shite, whatever I did the other day, but I don't think I was in a good mindset I was already so pissed off at the vocal not working initially, so yeah. Max, what did you think of Summertime Ball? I just watched it. Yeah, funnily enough, my dad was just watching it because they replayed it on TV. What did I think of it? That is the question. So, I'm going to cover my bases here because I had a wonderful time. I genuinely did. It was lovely socializing with people. The suite we were in was so unbelievably sick. Everyone there was lovely. We were treated so well. Fantastic. The show itself. And now I don't want to get in too much trouble here, which hopefully I shouldn't, because at the end of the day, all I'm displaying is my opinion, not even specifically attacking artists, whatever. It was possibly one of the most bland performances I've ever watched in my life. Not to the fault of the artists. Can I just start with that? Kind of. Admittedly, I think the artists potentially could have done better, but there is also the fact that most of them have never played to that many people before, because it's a huge stadium, huge event, and, it's just that kind of show as well. They don't have loads of time to properly give their performance. They've only got 15-20 minute slots. I know there's probably a bunch of Tate fans in here as well. Even Tate was lame, I'm not gonna lie. Like, everyone, I feel like I did say this, I might be wrong in this, but the one person that actually had the entire crowd going for it, excited to be there, enjoying it, was Will Smith. I'm not joking. I was actually surprised that he got such a good reaction. It was just a really good vibe, and the setup and the sun, all that kind of stuff, the vibe was perfect for what he was doing. Everyone else's performance, it was just that's a nice song, but I'm not impressed. I was stood there yeah, cool. And again, I really, really don't want it to seem like I'm just shitting on all these artists, because I know that Tate's a phenomenal performer. I'm very aware of that. She's got amazing music. Benson Boone, he's also an amazing performer. Got great music. It's not particularly my taste, but he has got great music. Who else? Do you know what I did really like, actually, was Remember Monday's medley that they did of other people's songs, and admittedly that might... Oh yeah, the Lola Young thing as well. That was really peak for her. She did quite well, but again, I was whelmed by her performance. She's a great singer, and you could tell she's a great singer. But maybe it's to do with the sound in the stadium as well. That was sort of something I said was... I felt Capital have been doing it for so long in Wembley now. Surely they'd be able to make the sound better. Admittedly, I wasn't in the pits, so it might have sounded phenomenal, in that main pit section. We were further back. But then I'm sort of thinking, surely it should sound decent in the whole of the stadium. That's kind of the point. But yeah, it was cool. I enjoyed myself. I'm not, coming away from that being oh my God, worst thing I've ever done. It's one of the worst live performances I've ever seen, for sure. But I still enjoyed myself, so it's can't really complain. I feel bad for the performers at that point, because it's I don't know if you guys know this, but most of them, if not all of them, aren't being paid to do that performance. They're doing it on a, sweetening the radio station basis. Now, I actually don't know if that's changed, to be fair. I know that's what it used to be. But most of those artists just do it because they know that it's going to benefit them in terms of radio play in the UK and just general streams and all that kind of stuff. So that's the kind of deal that typically happens with Summertime, Jingle Bell, whatever. Just a little insider tip for you guys. Yeah, and so that's the point. Sadie, you actually kind of make a good point there, is that, yeah, they're not being paid, so of course they're not going to be like, bam, here I am, this is my best performance I've ever done. But then there is an argument of, like, you're being watched by a lot of people, so you probably should be giving a great performance. I don't know. It's a tricky one to resolve, because at the end of the day, the main issue is they're only getting like 15 minutes each, and there's only so much you can do with 15-20 minutes. So respect to them, but I'm not gonna lie to you guys, that was my opinion. That's a good point. JLS were actually quite good. They, what's the phrase? They had an advantage in that they were a surprise act. So people were naturally more excited when that whole thing was going off. And they actually had cooler things going on, like, I mean, everyone had pyros and stuff, but the thing that stuck with me the most, and I think a lot of people would have walked away remembering, is their batshit exit from the stage, where they all just walked down the catwalk and jumped into the hole in the middle of the stage. I thought that was fucking hilarious. I was like, brilliant. I wish all of the acts had something cool like that, like a moment, because that would at least give all of them a bit more of a memorable performance. But I suppose because the changes are so quick and there's only so much you can do with a certain amount of budget that Capital clearly only want to spend on that show, it's tricky. But JLS were also quite good, to be fair. They went down very well. Trying to think if I can be mean enough to figure out who went down the worst. It was probably the Dasher girl, to be fair, though I'm not shitting on her. I actually thought she was quite good. I just don't, especially when she came out and did her first song, everyone was like, who's this? And then the if you boost started playing, everyone was like, oh, and started screaming the lyrics. So it was like, cool. She only did 2 songs. She had the shortest set of everyone, I think. Well, her and Remember Monday. Bit of a tongue twister, that. But yeah, I think she certainly had the coldest crowd, which is so tough, especially if you're only doing 2 songs and like that's it, that's your work. I mean, I'm sure she was gassed to just be doing Wembley anyway, but Jade was quite good. I was actually quite impressed by Jade. Sort of both Harvey and I were saying to each other, Jezzy, is that how you say her name? Jezzy wishes she sort of came off as cool as Jade did. However, no. I was about to say, on saying that, Jessie was definitely... Is it Jezzy or Jessie? I don't know. She definitely came out of that performance more talked about than Jade did, but I actually think Jade just went down quite well, and her performance was very cool. She was the opener as well, and I actually... Again, of all the artists, I think Jade sort of made more of an impact than even Tate and Benson. I was more impressed by her than those two. Who else? Jessie J was cool. She didn't do anything mental, but it was cool to see her perform. I just need to text Paul, party people, give me a second. Don't know why I called you that just then, but otherwise you're just gonna keep spamming me. Sorry for that being so negative, by the way, but if you're going to ask my opinion, I'm going to give it. Rita Ora was not very impressive, I'm afraid. I barely even watched her performance. It was, yeah. I actually like her music as well, but it was just like, I don't know what it was. I don't know whether it was like a bad mix or it just didn't come across well. And then there was one other that just came to mind, but I've forgotten it already. KSI. I didn't watch his. I'll be real, I was eating. I saw it from the window, but it's KSI. Same with Miles Smith. Unfortunately, I didn't really watch his. Didn't really watch Renee Rapp's. Do you know what was really weird about this? Is a strange thing for me to pick up on, right? Her outfit for that performance, we all thought it had like something spilled down it, like blood or food or whatever, because we were so far back and we could, and even on like the big screens when they got the camera on her, like that gives us a bit of a better image, and we still thought it was like something had been spilt down her, and I was like, well, it must be, you know, intentional. What it actually was, because I think I saw clips afterwards, was like rips in the shirt, which I was like, oh, that makes more sense. It didn't look like rips, so I don't think that was very well thought out, if I'm being honest, because it did just look like she made a mess with food. But yeah, I do like Renee Rapp. She's a fantastic singer, like probably one of the best singers out there at the moment. Do you like Will Smith's new song? I can't say I do. That was the one bit that I didn't like about his set, was the new song. Zara Larsson was meh. She really was. I've seen her live before and she was actually really impressive. So like in a festival setting, brilliant. That performance, nah. I don't know what to buy from the M&H shop. Whatever you want. There's not like loads available, but there's, you know, a couple of t-shirts, some old merch that's in the depths if you scroll further down. We do signed pictures. Yeah, they should be up there. When will socks be restocked? I think we'll have a look at those maybe closer to the colder months, if that's okay with y'all. Don't know why I said that, but yeah, I think it makes a little bit more sense maybe not to do fluffy socks right in the middle of a heat wave, but give socks now. No, you will wait. Someone just say the pink goodies restocked, because I don't know that they are. Oh, there is like one extra large. If anyone wants a pink hoodie, that's like the last hoodie. Maybe two. I don't know, but I know there's not many. So, yeah, if anyone did want a pink hoodie, that is on the store. There are grey hoodies as well, but they're the stock ones. So, that is my favourite, to be fair, the grey. And then grey t-shirt, light blue t-shirt, bunch of... Wait, what? Max and Harvey gift card? What? I didn't know we did that. No way. That's kind of crazy. I genuinely had no clue. That I probably shouldn't be saying that, but what can you get with the gift? I mean, I'm assuming it's just like to spend on the merch store, but is that not kind of pointless? I suppose if someone doesn't know what someone wants from the store, then like fair enough, but how does that even work? Does it like give you a code or something? Has anyone tried that yet? Like, I'm not trying to make anyone try it, but I am intrigued to know. Anyway, yes, we do sign pictures. There's a fair few up there. There's a key ring.
Still got some umbrellas from back in the day. They were hilarious. Yeah, unfortunately the fluffy socks are sold out. There's a raincoat. I don't know why the Christmas shirt is even up, I'll be honest. Not a clue. It's probably one of the goofiest pieces of merch we've ever done. And then yeah, this green crew neck. The crew neck's actually a really nice material as well. Oh yeah, water bottle. The bottles are quite cool. And very cheap as well. If you wanted a cheap water bottle that has our logo on it, or our old logo to be fair, but still, they're on there. Only a £5, you know, for one of them like flasks that keeps your drinks cold. Don't get me wrong, it's probably not, well, I say probably not, it's definitely not as good as a, what are they called? Stanley mug. Is that it? Yeah, they're not as good as them. That's a bit more high tech, but those bottles still keep your drinks cold. So yeah, if you want one for a £5, I don't even know if you'd get one cheaper anywhere else. Genuinely, if anyone's just looking for a metal water bottle, have a look at our site. Like we just don't want them anymore, so like go nuts. But yeah. What do you think of Spurs? Not too impressed with Spurs, because they beat us in the Europa League final. Yeah, pretty sad day that, because that would have meant we'd at least have a trophy. But I'm not as salty as I would be with probably most other teams, to be fair, because I actually do feel bad for Tottenham. They've had a shitter for the past however many years. So it was actually quite nice to see for them, if you know what I mean. Like, if it was like City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, even some other like lower teams, I would have probably been more salty. Like I've always said I'm actually fine to see Tottenham win. Like I really don't mind, because they are right. They've never actually pissed me off before. So, though I'm not that invested in football, if you know what I mean. Like I watch a lot of games, to be fair, and I love watching the sport. And obviously I support United, but I'm not one of those guys that's like live and die for the club. It's not my life, but I enjoy it very much. So, rate Newcastle. Yeah, Newcastle's weird, because before they got bought by, you know, whoever it was and pumped a load of money into, I actually had a lot of respect for Newcastle. It's similar to Tottenham. I was like, they don't get a lot, but like their fans are really, really devoted and care a lot about the club, kind of thing. So I have respect for Newcastle for that reason, but probably would have been more pissed if Newcastle had beaten us in a final than Tottenham, if that makes any sense. Your heat on me, on me. What merch is going to be at the live pod? Now that's quite the question, because we are doing, and this is potentially going to piss some people off, but I don't care. I think I might have said this already actually, so it's not too bad, but we are doing a limited only to the actual, you know, show itself piece of merch. There is then other stuff that will be available to buy at the show and online after the show. So, you know, for anyone that didn't get to come that time round and still wants something from, you know, that experience, there will be, I think, I'm not actually gonna say what specific piece of clothing, because I actually can't remember off the top of my head. I know what the limited one is, but I don't think I'm gonna say it yet, just in case something changes. But I actually do think we've already ordered the merch. So
Yeah, that I can't wait for. It's going to be one of my favorite hoodies, just because again, it's like it's not even like a quote from us. It's just something that I thought would be quite funny. Harvey very much enjoys it as well, and it's just a wacky thing that I decided, yep, stick that on the back of the hoodie, and it does relate to the podcast as well, kind of. Like it has 13 again in the text, but yeah, I don't want to say too much just to not ruin it. I kind of want it to be a bit of a surprise. I don't know when we talk. I'll probably like have it on, in the few weeks up to the actual live show itself, and you'll find out then. But just know there is limited merch for the actual live shows, and then hopefully, so just to not make people like freak out completely about that, those hoodies, if we then do, sorry, I'm just trying so hard to like say the right thing here. If we then do take the podcast on tour, those limited hoodies will also be sold only in person on the tour, but for those other dates, if you catch my drift. But yeah, they will only be available in person. For the live show recorded question, I went into a whole fucking ramble the other week about this. There is no conclusive answer as of yet, unfortunately. We do know we're recording it, is all I can say. Where it's going, we just don't know yet, because we need to figure out the I'm so tired, guys. We need to figure out the, like, it's not like the word that came to my mind. I'm not even speaking English properly. The word that came to my mind was licensing, but I'm actually not sure the word is licensing, but it's to do with the fact that our show is I'm live, you donkey. Right. Sorry, what was I saying? Yeah, it's a lot more complicated than you guys might think in terms of that content being posted, because filming stuff in theatres is a lot more policed than live music shows, if you know what I mean. And like I said before, anyone that knows the sort of rules and regulations of music theatre and just live shows like that, you know what I'm getting at, hopefully, because it's just a rule across the board. We're yet to figure that out yet, so just don't worry about it yet. I mean, I know you're worried about it, because I know a lot of people that can't watch it want to see it, but sometimes... Why the fuck? Is he an idiot? Are you an idiot?
I just want to know.
Why are you calling me to ask me if I like mushrooms?
Because I'm cooking and I didn't know where you were.
I'm cool with mushrooms, they're fine.
Fine.
It doesn't need a call.
It did. What?
Oh my god. It's too much. It's too much today. That did not need a call. At all. Yeah, sorry. Any other questions? Where is the show? It's in London, in the Leicester Square Theatre. The date's actually gone out of my mind. I'm pretty sure it's the 6th of September. One show at 12 and one show at 4. Pretty sure. How was San Francisco? I mean, San Francisco was a few weeks ago now, but it was fantastic. It was one of the best trips I've done. I had a very good time. It was very short, but yeah, it was very fun. You're at the meet and greet for the 4 p.m. show. Let's go. Cannot wait to see you there. What is the show about? Again, unfortunately, you're only going to find out if you're there. So when the show potentially eventually goes on tour, better get yourself some tickets. I can't be revealing secrets now, can I? Otherwise, who would come to the show? Yes, we're setting Harvey on fire live on stage. That's what's happening. You guys are the worst. You're always just trying to get like little secrets out of me because you think I'm weak, which I am, but I'm getting stronger. So just beware that these secrets. Yeah, nah, I'm not playing a new song. Nah, you can't sweet talk me, fellas. There ain't no information coming out of my mouth. You are weak, you told us. What secret did I tell you yesterday? What did I even say? What do I even have to tell you guys? I don't have any secrets to tell really at the moment. You spoil everything. Are you in Elio? We're not in Elio, no. Though that would be funny. Is it Pride Month? Happy Pride Month, everyone. I hope everyone feels seen and proud. Max and Tom Holland are on the same level of secret keeping. Yeah. Oh, I just love the fact that I'm being compared to Tom Holland. That's a great ego boost, even though it's the fact that we're both shit at keeping secrets. He's gotten better at it. I'm getting better at it. So watch yourselves. Someone just said they drank too much sparkling water. Aye. Well done. How was my day? My day's been good. Yeah, it's been relatively chill. I mean, I went to the gym earlier. Done little bits of work, but nothing major, to be fair. I've had a pretty laid back day today. Obviously doing this now, but this doesn't really feel like work. This is fun. This is just me chilling. What video did we just post? Yeah, well, did anyone enjoy the Crumble review? I mean, do you know what? I say that. I actually feel so bad, and I'm still so annoyed that Harvey didn't get our actual initial reactions to the Crumble cookie stuff, because I think people would have cared slightly more if that footage was available, but he's such an idiot and just couldn't film properly. Stopped the recording and it ruined the video. So that's that $50 down the drain. I have 25 because Tilly had the other 25. But yeah, bit of a shame. But do you know what? So something that I kind of wanted to say is a guy. I don't think we've ever met him, and I don't even know if he knows who we are. To be fair, but I've certainly seen him. Max Belegday. He obviously did his crumble cookie review that did quite well. He said he hated it. Admittedly, he had very different cookies to what we had. So I saw the ones-ish that he had because I sort of skimmed through the video. They didn't look great, I'll be honest. So I get his response to that. The ones we had were actually pretty good, to be fair. So yeah, one of the ones we did have was more like a cake, and I think that was the same for him. Like 1 or 2 of the ones he had were actually just a cake. So it is a little bit confusing, that, but I kind of understand it, because if they were just doing cookies, they probably wouldn't do that well, because there is only so much you can do with cookies. But they were pretty good. This is the thing, right? I kicked up a fuss about the price initially. Then I was told about how many calories are in each cookie. Multiple things. Those cookies last a while, so I'm impressed by that. You genuinely could have like quarter of a cookie and be full of cookie. So think about it this way. If you're paying for one that costs, what do they cost each? It's something, I think I did the maths and it's like $6 or something like that. Maybe even slightly, no, it is about $6 actually, I think. Yeah, a little bit more than 6. But you're actually getting like 4 cookies worth because there's so many calories in each cookie. So if you then, divide that 6 by 4, I'm not about to do that maths. You're actually not paying that much. And like I said, they last ages. So you can just, share them with people and cut them into bits and you'd be fine. They are so filling. If I was sat with those 4 in front of me and had to eat all of them, I'd be close to throwing up. Not for like bad reasons, not because they're grim, but just because they're so filling. So that was what I was saying was I disagree with Max's opinion. They're actually pretty good. They are actually decent value for money as well. But I suppose it depends what flavors you get and if you're willing to try new stuff or whatever. I'm not being paid to say that either. I wish I was. If you were a cookie, which would you be? I don't know, man. I just don't know. How do I answer that question? Like, what thought could I put into that question to be like, yeah, that cookie's me. I'm like that cookie. Not like a cookie, I'm a guy. If they had like a guy-shaped cookie, I'd be like, yeah, that one. They're just cookies. Fucking stupid question. Red velvet cookie would bang, to be fair. If Crumble did a red velvet cookie, I'd be all over that shit. Because America does red velvet stuff so well. I remember my favourite thing to get food-wise from America used to be, and they don't do it anymore. I don't know if it was as much of like a thing as I made it out to be at the time, because I was fucking devastated, but the IHOP red velvet pancakes, don't know why I said IHOP so weirdly there. Yeah, those red velvet pancakes with the cream cheese dressing or whatever it was, fantastic. Best breakfast I've ever had. So unhealthy. Unbelievably unhealthy, but I was a child, remember? I loved sugar at the time, so I had it all the time when we were out there. But yeah, they don't do it anymore, and I was devastated. I'm pretty sure I actually posted on social media about it, not like drastically, but pretty sure something went up about me saying I'm devastated about it not being on the menu anymore. They have green velvet at Christmas. Why? Yeah, that would make sense if they do it for Valentine's Day. Is there an age limit for the members pass? Not that I know of. The only issue I could see is that you're, having to pay. So I don't really know how the internet works in terms of like signing up credit cards, debit cards, whatever, but I'm pretty sure there's no age limit. I will figure out how to play this properly. I was actually, yesterday, there was a few people came around and we just had some music playing in the background because we just sometimes do that in here, sit with the speakers are so nice, like it makes such a brilliant sound, and hearing sort of everyone's favourite songs on these speakers is just a fun little pastime. But whilst we were doing that, for certain songs, I was sort of playing around with this in my hand, trying to harmonize the chords along with what was going on in the track, and I got somewhere with it. I still don't really know how to play this. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but I wouldn't just be able to play you a song, if you know what I mean. I'm fine listening along to stuff and just figuring out the right notes and then going back to them and switching them up and whatnot, but I haven't quite figured out the kalimba yet. We'll get there. I've I've got it now, so nothing's stopping me. New tour instrument. Yeah, not sure I'll take it on tour. But who knows? Who knows? Is the membership only on YouTube? Yeah, boy. It is indeed. There is. Ooh. Am I allowed to say this yet? No, I don't think I am. No, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it for now. You'll find out eventually, but it's just, it's a new thing we're trying out with a company. It's another subscription-based thing. If you want to get involved, feel free to get involved. If you don't want to get involved, you don't have to. But like, it's a cool new thing we're trying out. Don't worry, it's not like loads of money, but I'm just pre-warning because I think that's the right thing to do. But like I say, it's just a new thing. It's actually a new form of social media that we're testing out. So oh, Sadie, have you how did you okay yeah. Anywho, like I say, it's just something we're testing out. It's not, no, and like I say, you don't, if it's not for you, you don't have to do it. That's life overall. No one's gonna make you do anything. But we've been explained what the concept is. We think it's cool. Want to give it a go, and you know, see how it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But it looks pretty good to me. So, but I can't say too much. Is all. We did it in 2016, did we? I don't remember that. My memory seems to fail me then, because I genuinely don't remember that. Yeah, unfortunately we don't, we used Cameo for like the shortest amount of time and then stopped just because we didn't really like the way they did things. We have actually, for anyone on here, we don't shout it out loads just because we get quite busy sometimes and it is sometimes hard to keep up with them. And you know, I think we do actually say, because it is on the store, I'm pretty sure, we say if you're ordering them, give like a 2-week, you know, waiting period. And I am so sorry for that. It genuinely is just like how busy we are and the fact that like a lot of the time me and Harvey aren't in the same place. But we do video messages. They're on our store. So if anyone did want anything like a video message, they are there. I know probably a lot of people don't know about that, but yeah, we do have those. But like I say, I try not to, you know, scream about them loads, because if we end up having like hundreds come in, then it's like shit. Though we love communicating with you guys, like sending out the messages, it's amazing. You got to understand that that shit takes time. It really does. So, why are people just commenting weird shit? Hi Ashley, hope you're doing well. How long is a video message? They're typically around 30 seconds, kind of thing. Yeah, to be fair, I think it says 15 seconds on the thing, but we always go over. That's why, and I actually probably shouldn't have said 30 seconds, because basically the mark is sort of 30 seconds is when we wrap them, but
they range from like typically between 20 to 30 every time we do them, kind of things. We end up waffling and doing stupid shit and just mucking about for them. How many have you done? God, I couldn't even guess, to be honest. We've been doing them for so long. They've certainly like died down because I think a lot of new people joining just don't know they exist. When we started, it was carnage. Like, that was all we were doing at one point. It was kind of fucking crazy. But if I were to put a really rough estimate on it, I actually don't know. This is like really, really rough estimate. I would say we've done at least at least 2,500, if not probably more. Yeah. Almost definitely more. That is over a while, but like it's a lot. But like I say, we love doing them because it sort of gives you guys the opportunity to, you know, be closer to everything, get something personal for yourself, because, you know, I know it's tricky commenting in these live streams, trying to be seen and heard and get involved. There's so many people, which, you know, we love that there's so many people because we're just glad that, you know, more than a few people enjoy what we're doing. But yeah, we offer that for that reason, because sometimes it is hard to be seen, unfortunately. I do wonder if it'll ever get to a point where we're like, you know, taking off and might actually have to stop those because there's only so much time in the world, but get them while you can, I suppose. Will you ever do a video with Evie again? Never. We hate Evie. She's the worst. No, of course we will. We're literally going on holiday with her in September. So... poor Evie. She'll be alright. We bully her a lot. She's used to it. It's just character building. She doesn't need it, to be fair, but still funny. Yeah, I need some character building. What can I watch 13 again on? You can watch it on YouTube. There is a new episode out. Came out yesterday. If you want to give it a go. Leo, our brother, for anyone that doesn't know, is on the episode for the first time ever. This is his first appearance on the podcast. A lot of shit went down. We spoke about some abhorrent shit. But to find out what we talked about, you'll have to go and watch it on YouTube right this second. Share it with your nan. Share it with your worst enemy. And, I don't know, flush your phone down the toilet after watching it. Do something crazy. You've got free will. How do you start a podcast? Good question. How do you start a podcast? I suppose you've got to come up with a gripping concept first and foremost, because at the end of the day, if you just try and slot yourself in and you're doing the same shit that everyone else is doing, you're going to get swept under the rug, I'm afraid. But if you've got something that, you know, to a certain amount of people is actually worth listening to, and it's not too oversaturated as well, you're already onto a winner.
And then this is the thing, a lot of people do develop like full-on formats for podcasts. We're not really overly for that. Like, we definitely have points we like to hit, for sure. But we kind of just want it to be free-flowing and like a chill thing that can just be, you know, if necessary, sat in the background. Sometimes people love intently watching it, which is great because obviously you learn more. But we don't want for it to ever get like too intense and like flashy and all that kind of stuff. We love the chill vibe. It's just a conversation, exactly. And there are some little things that we do, you know, just to spice it up and add little elements of entertainment, which is fine and all. But yeah, that's sort of our vibe, and we painted that out from the get-go and knew what we were doing. I would say in terms of equipment, podcast equipment, let me do a little add up real quick. So, is this smart? Yeah, it doesn't matter. Basically, for you don't even need to get a top of the line recording device. This is the thing. How do I explain this? We have a pretty, like, you know, standard recording device for our mics, which was probably, if I'm to guess, like, it was around 200 quid kind of thing. Nothing major. The difference is, yes, you could use that recording device straight and just plug your mics into it, record it onto an SD card, take it out, pair the footage, or you might not even be doing footage, you might just be doing the audio, and post the audio. Fine, but because we're using a slightly cheaper recording device, I noticed that the audio quality wasn't fantastic. It's not bad, it's just not top of the line, or, you know, what it sounds like now. So I take that audio, put it through Logic. I've set up my own preset channels for Tilly's voice, for my voice, and for Harvey's voice. They're all EQ'd differently so that our tones come through at a more satisfying frequency, if you know what I mean. And so that is something that no one would even really notice, but it's just an extra little sprinkle of something that makes it more watchable, because every little thing, trust me, that goes on in a video, no matter whether you actually pick up on it or your subconscious is picking up on it, counts towards the enjoyment of the video. So we like to think about all those little things and make sure everything is, it doesn't have to be perfect, but like done well enough to be presentable. So there's that, which obviously, if you're not able to do that, we're lucky that I am able to do that because we don't have to pay someone to do it. It doesn't cost me anything extra. I just use Logic, which is my DAW that I use. I did pay for one plugin, to be fair, which was like, it was like 12 quid. So I was like, absolutely get that. It's something called Clarity. Takes off some of the reverb of the room and makes it just more of a solid, clean sound. Sorry if this is so boring for some people, but it's something I care about, and I'm just sharing information at this point. But so let's try and add up the actual costs. Recording device, about 200 quid. Here's the thing, fellas. Now, I don't want, this is why earlier on I said, is this smart? I don't want anyone to get accidentally ripped off. So we bought 2 Shure SM7Bs on separate occasions. I got one early on because I just wanted one for like our recording stuff. That's the mic we use for the podcast. I think I spent like around 300 quid on the first one we bought. Tilly then got one. Her one was actually more expensive because it was a higher range one. Hers was about 400 quid. So those two together were 700 plus the recording device, which was 200, so 900 we're at currently. Then what I found out, we early on started renting mics to have a spare one. When we wanted to get the third mic for the podcast, we were sort of like, we've spent quite a bit of money so far on this equipment. I just wanted to see if there was anything like either secondhand or whatever on eBay. So I had a look on eBay, and I found some mics on there that are genuinely like being
I don't know how they're being sold. It doesn't look very legitimate, which is why I don't want to advise this completely. However, bought those mics. They were like, I think I got one of them for like 125 quid, and it's the same mic that I got from Amazon for like 300 quid. There's only like minor differences, but the sound it produces is honestly exactly the same as my mic. Not the same as Tilly's mic, because Tilly's mic is better, but it's exactly the same sound as the mic that I had bought for £300, because I did these tests before we even used them. I was like, I just want to make sure, because I sort of bought that mic because it was only 100 quid. I was like, at the end of the day, if it's really shit, we can just send it back. But it worked phenomenally well, and I was like, fuck, let's just get another one then. And so I got another one. It was even cheaper the second time round, because we started renting the mics for like Jenna and Evie, and we got them off other people just to have a fourth mic. And I was like, why are we renting mics? Like, I just buy one. Stop tossing money away. And so we bought the fourth one. That one was like, yeah, literally 100 quid. Because they'd got even cheaper somehow. And again, exact same quality. Like, you heard Leo's mic from that podcast. There was nothing wrong with it. However, I don't want to advise that, you know, do your own research. Make sure you're not getting scammed by someone, whatever. But adding those two on to the price that we already had, we were at 900. So let's just say 150 and 100. So we're adding 250. That's 1,150. So that's like that's the audio equipment is 1,150. Put it that way. The recording equipment, you guys are going to lose your damn minds, because we are fortunate enough that Dobby is a bloody genius, knows how to spend his money wisely. I put it this way, before I start spouting shit, don't take these costs too into account, and I actually don't want to be too specific, because I don't know how comfortable Dobby would be about me talking about the price of his equipment. It's fucking ridiculous, I'll tell you that much. So if you're getting someone to film your podcast as high quality as ours is filmed, so we pay Dobby, that's it, we pay Dobby to do the podcast for us. Not going to disclose how much that is, because that's definitely not the okay thing to do. However, his camera equipment, I'll put a rough total on it. It's not this exactly, so don't go mental, but that shit's at least like 10k. So don't get me wrong, we didn't have to pay for those cameras just to do the podcast, but to get something of that high quality, camera equipment is nuts. So, and then there's these lights. The lights and the rigs, we actually saved quite a lot of money, because I got them on a Valentine's Day deal. So the lights were like, how much did I pay? I've actually kind of forgotten. I think it was around the 360 mark, something like that. I don't think it quite breached 400 for both lights. Which was really good, because these are very high standard lights. So I'm very impressed and happy with that. And that's pretty much it. I mean, the other thing we did do was get all this acoustic paneling sorted, which very much helps with the sound quality. This studio in general, I mean, not everyone has a studio accessible. So realistically, if we're putting like an overall price on it, a podcast is not cheap to make. Like, it genuinely isn't. And like, I see all these comments of people saying they should make podcast equipment more expensive or whatever. And I'm like, I'd like to see every average Joe buy podcast equipment and send it. Because sometimes people do, and they get away with, you know, buying cheaper equipment, and they're still making entertaining content. And it's like, fantastic, good for you, man. Like, you're fucking nailing it. But if you're actually, you know, investing in proper podcast equipment and making your shit look sleek and watchable and whatever, that shit costs thousands. Thank you so much, Darcy. That's really kind. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it's not cheap to do a podcast, unfortunately. Sorry if that crushes anyone's dreams, but yeah, it costs money. Dobby is the only reason the podcast is doing well. Yeah. I mean, if we didn't have Dobby, it certainly, wouldn't be doing as well as it is. Thank you, Beth. But, can't discredit sort of the four of us together making the entire thing, because everyone does play their individual roles. I mean, Tilly just turns up, but that's all we need from her. And actually, Tilly now runs the bonus episodes for anyone that's not a member and didn't know that. Tilly runs those, so that's sort of her thing now. Sadie says it's mostly Dobby and Harvey, which I find funny because I actually don't like that. And I, in this recent, the episode we just filmed of the podcast, which is going up this next coming week. So I'm very aware of that clip that they were sat here talking about whatever. And I'm, totally with it that it's sort of 2 against 1 on that one. But I think if we're actually to do it properly in terms of, it's actually kind of, it's an unfair thing to try and compare, because you like making it it's not good to make it a competition of like who does the most work on the podcast, because at the end of the day, probably the person that puts the most time in is Dobby, which is like, yeah, that makes sense, because he's editing it, he's filming it, he's there on the day. Luckily for him, once he's set it up and it's rolling, he can just sit back and relax, whereas we're, all trying to make entertaining content. So all three of us are working just as hard as each other there, really. I don't care what Harvey says in terms of like organising and keeping conversation flowing. I sit back because I know he wants to do that. So that's where I'm at with that. Bro thinks of shit like minutes before we film most of the time. So I'm sort of like, if he claims he's doing like research and all this kind of shit, nah. But yeah, we do all, discuss about things that we want to bring to it and then talk about it before the podcast starts. That's where the work is actually put in, and but that's all three of us. That's not Harvey going off and doing it on his own. And then he reviews the podcast, but that doesn't take time at all. I did it once because he couldn't, and I was like, yeah, that was a piece of piss. I didn't really have to do anything. Whereas I actually edit the audio, that takes a bit of time. Again, it's pretty easy. I'm not going to start moaning about that. I'm totally fine to do that, because I actually do need to do the episode that I've been given. But yeah, that takes just as much time as him reviewing it. So, but it's pretty equal in terms of the podcast. And also my concept, but people hate hearing me say that, because though, do you know what, the one person that doesn't claim it is Harvey, which is impressive. Not impressive, because he's actually not really one to do that. He doesn't really claim ideas that aren't his. But it was me and Dob that were sort of initially pushing for the podcast to happen. Then some other stuff came up and we sort of pushed it to the side. And then our manager was the one that was like, time for you guys to maybe try a podcast again. And me and Dobby were like, well, we have this idea that we'd already come up with. We actually had, I think I've said this before, but we had like 3 ideas for what the podcast could be. And 13, again, didn't actually have a name, but we had the concept. We went through all of them with our manager, and she was like, yep, that's the best one. Let's name it. We named it. And then it went on from there. So that's sort of the actual backstory behind the podcast. And everyone works very hard on it. I don't want any slander of someone works harder than the other, because that's not what I'm trying to say here at all. I'm not trying to claim that I work the hardest on the podcast, because I don't. But I would say it's pretty damn equal. I think it's silly to even try and turn that into a competition. So, Up United for sure. Hope we have a better season this year. Yeah, this year. How did you get into music is an interesting question. Thank you, Beth. Because it's an interesting question because it's not got a very interesting answer, unfortunately, in the sense that
we've literally been doing it since birth. Like, there are obviously loads of artists that are, again, sort of musical from birth, and it's just in their blood, and that's what I love about artists and musicians. And you can really tell when someone has actually grown up with it and it's been their life, and they've done certain, you know, training, whether it be in music theatre or just other general like live performance stuff. It's like, that's all great when you're a kid, because having that performance experience gives you so much more knowledge towards what actually needs to go into music to make a good product. But yeah, we've just been doing it since birth. And what I will say, to take it to like a slightly negative place, that does annoy me is I'm not going to spout this too much because it is slightly unfair. Music's for everyone. That's the point. Anyone and everyone can do music. What does annoy me is people that you can kind of tell they're lost in what they're doing. And it's mostly like social media influencers. They don't know what they want to do with their life. They had a couple videos go viral and all of a sudden music is their life. And I'm like, but hang on a minute. Where was your care for music before you had people watching you? Is my point. Because that's, you know, what matters, and that's what people typically believe in, is like music coming from deep down, an actual, you know, care for it, rather than just being like, someone write me a bunch of songs, I'm gonna fucking sing on them, we're gonna tune the shit out of them, and we'll see what happens. Fuck that noise. That's no fun. Like, and there's too many of them now as well that are all just like, yeah, I could be a musician. It's like, could you? There's a lot of performers nowadays that I'm like, you can't sing, my friend. You actually can't hold your own live. And that stresses me the fuck out when, you know, something's... It's actually really annoying for me when I hear a really good track and someone sounds really good on that track, and then you hear it live and it's just like, what the fuck is that? Where, like, why is it that different? Because, like, you'd think that something that's been created that is, you know, that good, I don't have anything specific in mind, but I hope you know what I'm saying. When something's that good, surely it should translate somewhat to the live performance. And that's what we always lead with, is like, is this going to work live? How is this going to feel live? Is it going to have the right, you know, not message, but impact live? That's all that matters to us at the end of the day. Like, yeah, we want to make a really good product that's listenable and people can just, you know, put their headphones in and listen to, but also it's like, want to put on a show and actually give a good performance. Like, that's what we're all about. But yeah, it does just stress me out when new people decide that music is all of a sudden their life, which if those people turn around and actually dedicate their lives to learning the craft, you have won my respect. That's where I don't have a problem anymore. Totally cool. But if people are just like rocking up to a studio, they've been sent a song that someone else wrote, which does happen a lot for musicians that, you know, do actually write a lot of their music. Like, we didn't write Get Down on It. We didn't write Release Me. Those are two songs that we've released recently. But we've got a whole other project that is going to come out that is solely written by us. So, yeah, there's a big difference in that. And I don't want anyone to like start coming for people that don't write their own music, because sometimes a song just makes sense for someone and they can turn it into something that is their vibe, or if it already feels their kind of vibe, then totally fine, I'm cool with that. But if they are solely just releasing other people's songs, then it's like, nah, you're not a proper musician. You're just shouting into a mic and hoping someone can tune it well. Anyway, I'll stop ranting because I've been quite negative today, but I think it's because of how tired I am. Sorry, everyone. I am probably going to go soon. It's getting quite warm in here. I actually didn't expect it to get as warm as it is right now in here. It wasn't this warm earlier. But yeah, I hope everyone's good. Couple things to reel off before I do dip. Make sure you're following us on here if you're not already. Really do appreciate it, and we post pretty consistent content, so why not? Subscribe to 13 Again on YouTube. It's our podcast. Give it a go if you haven't already, and if you haven't watched a new episode, there is a new episode up there. You can follow us over on Instagram as well. There's some other stuff and like pictures and sort of more behind the scenes stuff that you wouldn't normally see on TikTok kind of beat. Over there it's just Max and Harvey on Instagram. We do have a joint Snapchat as well, which I never shout out because we kind of haven't really figured out Snapchat yet. I'll be brutally honest about it. I'm sure we'll get there at some point, but I just sort of sometimes spam random shit on our stories, which is even more behind the scenes because it's just batshit stuff. We also have a store, maxandharveyofficial.com. There's t-shirts, like a grey hoodie, one pink hoodie, an extra large if anyone wants that final pink hoodie. Should I actually check to see if anyone got it in the time that I said it? I say a lot. I need to stop doing that. Leo does it as well. The hoodie is still there in extra large. Fuck, stop saying I'm gonna do it regardless. Yeah, if anyone wants that, still there. And then there's also grey and t-shirts as well. So that's that. I think I covered everything. No, I didn't. Make sure you stream Get Down on It and Release Me. Road to 1 million for both songs. It might take a second, but that's okay. Music lasts forever is the beautiful thing about it. Except maybe... Actually, I don't know if we took any of the old music down, to be fair, but I'm not going to start shouting about that, because fuck that noise. Let me just... Are we in the recent search? We are. Hell yeah, 109,000 monthly listeners. Let's go. Get Down on It's almost at 250k, quarter of the way there. That's phenomenal. Thank you guys so much. Release Me is at 210. Fantastic as well. Like, just ridiculous for our first release back in, like, how long's it been? When was our last release? Can anyone fact check that for me? Obviously not these two. Don't include these two. When was the last release before them? $2023. Was it? Yeah, it would have been like the start of 20... Wait, was it 23? Yeah, probably was, because that was after lockdown, wasn't it? And did we do a tour then? Yeah. Yeah, we did. Yeah. Wait. Yeah. Oh, I can't remember. 2022 was the last release. Well, now you're confusing me. I believe you. 2022 sounds right, because I actually didn't think we released in 2023. So yeah, it's been 3 years anyway. And that is just phenomenal to come back to. I honestly thought the songs might get like 10k streams kind of thing. So to be at this point already, so early on, and you haven't even heard our stuff yet, which I'm even more excited for, because I do genuinely believe you guys are gonna absolutely love that stuff. Fingers crossed, obviously. It's so exciting. It's exactly what excites me about music, as does this stuff. It just, obviously, there's slightly less of a personal touch with this stuff because we are just featuring on the songs. So, but I'm more than happy doing that, because at least it gets music out there and people listening. So that's all I have to say. Thank you so much, everyone. Let me thank the gifters real quick, because you guys are too kind. So Nicola and Holly, thank you so much. I've not seen you guys too often before. I'm sure you've been around, but I think that's like one of the first times you've been top gifters. So thanks so much to Nicola and Holly. Beth, of course, Ellie Pearson, Amy Louise, Mia, Rosie Reader, Taba, Sophie, Sienna, Kaylee and Christina, you bloody legends, and Bo and Layla.
Thank you, everyone, so much. Have a wonderful Sunday evening. I shall see you next week at some point, I'm sure. I'm probably just going to lie down for the rest of today. I'm so tired. But yeah, thanks for joining me for this random waffle and rant. I apologise that it wasn't the most interesting thing ever. Thank you, Alex. We at some point we shall definitely try and increase the energy within these live streams. It's just there's a lot of energy going into other projects at the moment, so you're gonna have to forgive us for that. But I promise it will be worth it. Thank you, everyone, so much. Have a lovely day. Gonna talk for a little bit longer because I know it cuts it off when you end it. So noises. Wow. Alrighty.